saw me crying in the chapel. The tears I shed were tears of joy. I know the meaning of contentment. I am happy with the Lord. Just a plain and simple chapel where all good people go to pray. I prayed the Lord that I'll grow stronger as I live from day to day. I searched and I searched, but I couldn't find no way on earth to find peace of mind. Now I'm happy in the chapel where people are of one accord. Yes, we gather in the chapel just to sing and praise the Lord. You'll search and you'll search, but you'll never find no way on earth to find peace of mind. Take your troubles to the chapel. Get down on your knees and pray. Then your burdens will be lighter, and you'll surely find a way.
What is wrong with another sin? The night is calling, I have to go. The wolf is hungry, he runs the show. Licking his lips, he's ready to win. On the hunt tonight for love and sin. Here I am, rocked you like a hurricane. Are you ready, baby? Here I am.
driver's seat. Ooh, driver's seat.
Yeah.
Driver's seat. Ooh, driver's seat. Yeah. Yeah. Driver's seat.
in the city, back of my neck getting dirt and gritty. Been down, isn't it a pity? Doesn't seem to be a shadow in the city. All around, people looking half dead, walking on the sidewalk harder than a match here. But at night it's a different world. Go out and find a girl. Come on and dance all night. Despite the heat, it'll be alright. And babe, don't you know it's a pity the days can't be like the nights in the summer, in the city, in the summer, in the city. Cool town, meeting in the city, dressed so fine and looking so pretty. Cool cat, looking for a kitty, gonna look in every corner of the city. Till I'm wheezing like a bus stop, running up the stairs, gonna meet you on the rooftop. But at night it's a different world. Go out and find a girl. Come on and dance all night. Just like the heat, it'll be alright. And babe, don't you know it's a pity the days can't be like the nights in the summer, in the city, in the summer, in the city. Shadow in the city, all around people looking half dead, walking on the sidewalk harder than a match here. But now it's a different world. Go out and find a girl. Come on and dance all night. Despite the heat, it'll be alright. And babe, don't you know it's a pity the days can't be like the nights in the summer, in the city, summer, in the city. of talking if you can't hit your ride. You better start walking, it's time. He knows it's time. It's time, man. I said it's time. I mean it's time. Whip it!
All right, it is that time again for the Michael J. Steele Percentage Show. Coming at you live from downtown Fargo, North Dakota. How's everybody doing there? Thanks for tuning in. Shannon did a great job doing some designs for me. It's awesome. If you need any designs done, talk to Shannon here. She does great work. I'm very, very impressed. Thanks again, Shannon. Thank you. Also, we got a tornado. It looks like just breaking news hit in New Orleans. Are you safe, Shannon, where you're at there? I hope Shannon's safe there. Breaking news, tornado just hit New Orleans. I know Shannon's in Louisiana. I hope you're safe. I hope everything's, I hope you're okay there. I just seen on the news here, breaking news. So be careful, Shannon. Get into a basement and be safe. I hope you're near a safe place. Right now we're going to thank our contributors. Bernadette Hoven, $500 here about 3 weeks ago. She donated to the campaign. Thanks again, Bernadette. And that's like $1 million to me, you know, like John Hoven, the incumbent who's been in Washington for 11 years now. He gets millions of dollars from big oil. I've been running against him for over 4 years now. He's worth about $54 million now, while we got 24,000 children living in North Dakota beneath the poverty line. I'm not the only one running against John Hoven. There's a doctor, Rick Becker, plastic surgeon, who's actually a state legislature, got on board here about 3 weeks ago. He's running against John Hoven too now. And then we got a lady from Nebraska, Katrina Christensen, got on board here about 3 weeks ago. Well, actually on February 14th, on Valentine's Day, she got on board. She's an adjunct assistant professor at the University of Jamestown in North Dakota. And then some dude I don't know much about, Andrew Alexis Velver, and he's a historian, I guess, that writes historical pieces and sends them around to colleges and wherever he can to try to get people to read his stuff. So I don't know too much about him. That's all but he's none of these, he doesn't have anything registered with the Federal Election Committee, neither does this Katrina lady from Jamestown either. They don't have no reporting or nothing done yet, so maybe they'll get to that. But the convention's coming March 24th through 27th in Minot, and that's for the state party, Democratic NPL picks who they're going to supposedly run for the, who they're going to endorse for their candidate. I've been running as a moderate pro-life Democrat. I'm also pro-gun rights because I believe in hunting, deer hunting, and gun safety. You know, we have a hunter safety program in North Dakota that's trained over 250,000 students. Very successful program. I hope they keep that up in North Dakota. Actually, you get a hunter certificate here, a hunter safety course before you're allowed to hunt in North Dakota if you're under a certain age here. So, got a good track record with our hunter safeties program. Good program here in North Dakota's kept that up. Trained over 250,000 people, and adults too, adults, children, and the like. It's just good to know hunter safety. It's a good program. And also, they don't have no basements in Louisiana. That's right, because of the high sea level. That's right. Well, you might have to get in like a bathtub and throw like a soft mattress over yourself if you got like a soft mattress. I've always heard that's a good thing. If you have a old-time claw iron bathtub, sometimes they're good to get into. And then you throw like a soft mattress on top and lay like that and surround yourself with pillows on your head and all that. I heard that's good. Maybe put on like a motorcycle helmet or something like that, or to protect yourself. Try to stay away from windows if you can. If you got windows in your place, stay away from windows for tornadoes. I'm reading things on our text board on Podbean. There's a text board. If you come into the live studio audience, you can write in on the text board. That's one advantage that Podbeam has. If you become a Podbeam member or host, you can text, people can text you, or they can call in. There's 7 call-in lines, so you can be talking to 7 people at one time on your program, which is pretty awesome. That's one of the reasons I've been a Podbean member since June 1st of last year. So and it's been promoting my campaign, letting people know what I'm all about, because I don't have the multi-millions of dollars like some of these special interest candidates that are bought and paid for by the big corporations. And I don't have that luxury. I'm not bought and paid for. Haven't got any money from big oil or big corporations, so they don't own me. I'm my own person, and I work for Main Street, not Wall Street. I work for the people of North Dakota and also the people of America. That's who I've always vowed that I'd work for. The weather right now in North Dakota, I'll do our up-to-the-minute weather forecast. It's currently Tuesday, and it's 10:30. Central Standard Time, March 22nd, 2022 in Fargo, North Dakota, 38 degrees. We got quite a wind out here. We should be known as the windy city like Chicago because we're way windier here in Fargo. 21 mile an hour wind tonight. Feels like 27 degrees with the wind chill. Humidity 76%. Very cloudy and windy outside. We got visibility 10 miles, which isn't too bad on the interstate. Barometric pressure 30.07 inches, dew point 31 degrees. So that was our up-to-the-minute weather report. Right now we have some sad news in North Dakota. People were really got their heart broke right now. North Dakota term limit petitions determined insufficient, which is really sad because, Bismarck, North Dakota is our state capital for you that are unaware in North Dakota. Secretary of Al Jaeger, Jaeger, this is his last year of being our Secretary of State. He's retiring. He announced today that a petition seeking to implement term limits in North Dakota has been failed to reach 31,164 signatures required to make the North Dakota ballot. However, the sponsoring committee submitted more than 46,000 signatures on February 15th. Of those signatures, 29,101 were rejected by Al Jaeger after being reviewed by Al Jaeger, the Secretary of State. According to the letter sent to the committee, the reasons for signatures and entire petitions being excluded varied, including several signatures of circulators were likely forged on affidavits in the presence of a notary republic. Oh boy, some circulars were not North Dakota qualified electors, as required with some of those individuals were not citizens of the United States. A sampling of 87 circulars indicated that several were offered or paid bonuses based on the number of signatures they obtained, which Jagger said is prohibited. Jagger is withholding for any further comment because of an ongoing investigation, but not note in his letter that he required to report all violations to the Attorney General, which we have a new Attorney General right now. I am running for Senate, Sean. Thank you. I've been running for over 4 years. Sean said, Mr. Steele, you should run for Senate. Well, Sean, thank you very much. I am running for Senate. Thing is, this whole thing stinks to high heaven is my thought on this. This organization collected over 46,000 signatures in North Dakota. They only needed 31,000. They collected over 46,000 signatures. I actually signed this. And the reason they're doing this, they wanted to put term limits on some of the senile legislatures that have been in North Dakota. They got a guy that's actually finally retired because he's half dead. He's been in there since 1976, the oldest serving state senator in the United States history. And what the deal is, you've got these people that are in these smaller districts that have been up there, and half their family and relatives live in these districts, and it's all nepotism, and they own these factories where these people work. And they tell them, well, if you don't vote for me, you're going to lose your job, or we're going to lose this. They lie to them, and they keep these people in power up here basically forever. They're actually, and that's why you have Republicans running this red state forever, and it's been 18 Democrats in our state in the House and Senate to 143 Republicans, and that's why the people got together, said, how do we stop this unfairness? And they said, well, we can get a petition where we can get rid of these state legislatures by having term limits. And everybody I talked to, I've been campaigning over 4.5 years, the hundreds of thousands of people I've talked to said that we got to get this term limit petition through. And they did get it through, but magically, Al Jagger, our Secretary of State, basically said that they threw out all these signatures, 29,101 of them were magically thrown out for all these other extra reasons, which is unbelievable. Blows my mind because they had plenty of signatures, to finally break up what people have been saying in years. The North Dakota Good Old Boy Network, the same legislation, same people been running this state forever, and they want to get some fresh blood in North Dakota, some young people, new people, anybody in there. But the same old Republicans have been running this red state forever and just make it fair, and that's what this has all been about. And we got the signatures. People were so happy we got the signatures. This organization worked their ass off, and now this Al Jagger, who's retiring. This Al Jagger, by the way, is the one that from 2017 to 2021, he was the one that the Native Americans basically were suppressed. And if you lived on a reservation, you couldn't vote for jeepers. 2017 to 2021. And he created this thing that screwed up all our college kids in North Dakota, where they were unable to vote if they lived on the in the college campuses because they said it wasn't a permanent residency. And even though they had affidavits written from the college saying they lived there, see, in North Dakota, you only have to live here 30 days to have residency, and we have open voting here. In North Dakota, you don't have to register to vote. All you got to do is have a North Dakota ID and prove residency for 30 days, which is like an electric bill, cable bill, any kind of statement proving you've been here 30 days. Maybe a library card with, anything. and cable bill, and that's what most people do. They just prove residency 30 days. Well, these students that are living here, they'll be here 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 years. Some of them live here, or they live in a different part of the state and they come here. They're paying in-state tuition for 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 years to the state of North Dakota. They're also paying for their food here. They're working here. They're contributing. They're paying taxes, their booze, their medical, their clothing, everything here they give to the state while they're here for college. And a lot of them live here after they graduate. Some get married here. They have kids here. And for many years I watched it. Okay. They had affidavits from the college saying, yeah, they've lived at the dorms for over 2 years. They were living on campus. They lived here. They were here longer than 30 days. Well, this Al Jaeger and the Secretary of State said they weren't permanent. They didn't have permanent residency here, so they were disallowed to vote. Well, anyway, they took it to the court systems as students, and they actually got to vote this year. As of January this year, the courts favored with the students. They got to vote. And the Native Americans, same thing happened to the Native Americans. They made them get some kind of tribal IDs with their photographs on them, where they had some kind of mix-up where they couldn't afford tribal IDs. So a lot of the Native Americans didn't want to pay for tribal IDs besides their regular IDs. So my cousin, Mark Ruffalo, the actor, actually came here and bought everybody tribal IDs. But there were some other glitches in this thing that was disallowing the Native Americans to vote in North Dakota, too, for from 2017 to 2021. Well, they had to take this thing to the Supreme Court. They were being disenfranchised by Al Jaeger, who's actually the go-to guy for the Republican Party, who actually they use him to keep people like this ballot thing and the natives, a lot of voter suppression. And the thing is, my ballots have to go through him now, too. He could throw out my ballots, I'm telling you now, to get me on the ballot. I'm running for United States Senate. And my ballots are going to be getting handed in at the end of the month. They're going to get notarized. I'm going to go to my bank, and I'm going to have my lawyer present. We're going to notarize all the ballots and everything, all the documents, everything is going to be legal to get me on the ballot. Now, we'll see if he pulls some shit with me or not, because he's saying that 29,101 of these signatures were not, they were bullshit, which is crazy. So, I mean, and I think, and the guy that's in there, Drew Wrigley, whose parents own Wrigley Mechanical, I know his mom and dad, they're multi-rich. He was actually a Republican since he was born into a Republican family, Wrigley Mechanical. I know their family, very wealthy. He was actually our attorney general here in North Dakota for a while, Drew Wrigley. And he was the one when they had a Drew Shadeen case here. He basically said that if you're not pro-death penalty, you're not going to get on my jury. There was a young gal that got killed by this Rodriguez guy. And this real pretty Norwegian lady, Drew Shadeen, got killed and taken, I think, over to Minnesota, got killed, and they got her by, she got murdered by a guy, and but this, our Secretary of State at the time, or our Attorney General at the time was Drew Wrigley. And that's what he was saying is, if you're not pro-death penalty, you can't be on the juror. Well, that's bullshit. You cannot. That's I've studied this guy's a lawyer, Attorney General of North Dakota. He's telling everybody on the news and that he's going to have a pro-death penalty jury on the panel to try this guy. Even though the guy, North Dakota let this guy out, he had been a known serial rapist, and North Dakota judges and that should have never let this guy out as early as they did. And that's why I'm saying we need judicial reform here in North Dakota and all throughout the United States. They're letting too many people out too early that are a danger to women and society and to our children. A lot of pedophiles are getting out way early. A lot of sexual predators, such as this guy, got out way early, this Rodriguez guy. And what the deal was, no matter what happens, I said Drew Wrigley cannot tell people on the jury that they got to be pro-death penalty, and if they weren't, he was throwing them off the jury. Well, that's bullshit. That's jury rigging. He was rigging the jury. Well, 20 years later, Judge Ralph Erickson, the United States judge, looked into this, and now he said, yeah, he looked into it, and finally he says, oh, we got something here. This Rodriguez that killed Drew Shadeen, this real pretty blonde Norwegian girl up here in Norwegian country where I live, this Rodriguez guy does have a reason to appeal. So they're going to retry this guy, this Rodriguez, who did kill her and everything, took her out of state. And it was all, you know what it was for? It was just like I said. Drew Wrigley, who is now our new Attorney General, because Wayne Stingham died, our Attorney General, longest running Attorney General in North Dakota over like 24, 25 years. He passed away here a couple weeks ago. And now our interim Attorney General, Drew Wrigley's in there as our Attorney General, who's going to work with this Al Jaeger, and Al Jaeger's going to be sending it to Drew Wrigley, who's going to make everything just fine, you know, with this voter throwing out these 29,101 ballots that were rejected after being reviewed, and he's not given many reasons, you know. It's just they want to keep this good old boy network, and basically they're telling the public their votes don't count in North Dakota because we're corrupt and we're a Republican state and we're going to keep it that way. And they're telling the public to go F ourselves. And there's no way they could have they threw out 29,101 ballots were rejected by Al Jaeger, who's actually retiring at the end of this year. Okay, he's retiring. And he's the Republicans' go-to guy to screw people up that anybody the state's mad at, or anytime they want to do some dirty dealing, this is their go-to guy. He's like the a-hole they go to. And this is who's going to be he will be. His agency will be determining if my name gets on the ballot or not. And if he don't do it, you know, may his soul rot in hell if I don't get on this ballot, because I've done everything above board for over 4.5 years to get on the ballot, you know. But I'm just telling you right now that this guy is going to turn it over to Drew Wrigley, who actually is the one that Ralph Erickson, our other fair judge in North Dakota, who's a United States judge, who actually was a North Dakota district judge for many years, became a federal judge, looked at this case and said, hey, there is some room for review here, because you cannot have a rigged jury on a person. You know, you have to have a fair jury. And if there's people that are not anti-death penalty, they can still be on a jury. You know, so he's just going to let this Rodriguez now that did kill this gal, this poor gal, was raped, murdered, and killed. But the people that let him out, you know, the state's wondering, I'm wondering, how did this animal get released anyway? You know, and they're saying, well, he's got a low IQ and all this stuff. Well, he can drive a car. He had a job. He could work. He had an apartment. He can do all these other things, but he had a low IQ. Well, geez, he wasn't on Social Security or disability. You know, that's what they're saying. Well, he had a low IQ, you know. Well, it's like the lady, there was a little 3'5" dwarf guy that went out, and he was a serial rapo. He raped about 70 women. And this judge, female lady judge, wouldn't put him in prison, because she said that she liked him and felt sorry for him, thought he'd get hurt or killed in prison. So she gave him a real light sentence and put him on home arrest and wouldn't send him to prison. And he was the serial rapo. And true story. And I was madder than hell when I read the article, you know, read this whole thing and studied it. And the guy was a jam-up 3'5" serial rapo, raped and brutally beat a bunch of women, you know, over like 70 women. And this judge wouldn't send him to prison because he was 3'5". Well, he should go, the little bastard. Send him to prison, let him get raped and beat or killed or whatever, and then that takes care of his bad little ass, you know. So that's the way I look at it, you know. But this signature thing is burning my ass, because so many people were saying, we got it, we're going to take care of the good old boy network here in North Dakota. We're going to have term limits on these Senate House Republicans and House Senators and House the House members and the House Senate here in North Dakota, the Assembly. They were going to get rid of them finally. Well, now magically 29,101 ballots were rejected after being reviewed with really not really any good reasons for throwing them out. You know, it looks like a bunch of bullshit, and they were notarized by a legal notary. You know, and it looks like the allegations that Al Jaeger's saying he could just make this shit up. He could say anything. Well, I don't think the person that stamped it should have really been should have had that stamp. Well, I mean, come on, you could say anything and anything. So, and he's going to give it to his buddy Drew Wrigley, who's another little Republican dupe that is the one that actually had jury rigged the murder trial, which is now given this murderer another chance 20 years later because he botched the jury deal, like I told you here on the show 5 minutes ago, because he botched that. So now this guy, this murderer, is going to get another bite at the apple to maybe get freed, you know. So I'll tell you what, but this Jaeger's got to go. Get him the hell out of there. And Drew Wrigley's part of the old crooked cadre, and they all stick together. And he's just an interim guy. He's just basically Drew Wrigley's going to fill out the time. He's filling out Wayne Stingham, our Attorney General's time, because Wayne died. So he's just filling out his term till they have another election. And hopefully we get someone in there that is not Drew Wrigley, because he's 100% with the good old boy establishment. And these people don't go by the law. They don't. They go by whatever their party tells them to do, you know, and it's insane. Germany today is honoring a survivor of Nazi camp, 96 years old, who was killed in the Ukraine. Germany's parliament on Tuesday paid tribute to Boris Romachenko, who survived several Nazi concentration camps during World War II, but was killed last week during an attack in the Ukrainian city of Kharkiv. He was 96. The Buchenwald concentration camp memorial said on Monday that Romachenko, who survived Buchenwald, as well as camps Peenemünde, Dora, and Bergen-Belsen, was killed on Friday. It said that according to his granddaughter, the multi-story building where he lived was hit by a projectile. Romachenko was dedicated to keeping alive the memory of Nazi crimes and was vice president of the International Buchenwald-Dora Committee, the memorial said. Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky noted the sad irony of Romachenko's death. You know, just imagine how much he went through, Zelensky said in a video address late Monday. He survived Buchenwald, Dora, Peenemünde, Bergen-Belsen, the conveyors of death created by the Nazis, and he was killed by a Russian shell that hit an ordinary Kharkiv high-rise. With every day of this war, it becomes more and more obvious what the Russians mean by denazification. Wow. Yeah, denazification. Well, they're the Nazis now, the way they're acting, Putin. They're acting just like the Nazis. You can compare it more and more every day. Official guilty of illegally entering Capitol grounds, January 6th. A federal judge on Tuesday convicted an elected official from New Mexico of illegally entering restricted U.S. Capitol grounds, but acquitted him of engaging in disorderly conduct during the riot that disrupted Congress from, Joe Biden's certification. U.S. District Court Judge Trevor McFadden heard one day of testimony without a jury on Monday before handing down a verdict in the misdemeanor case against Otero County Commissioner Coy Griffin, a 48-year-old former rodeo rider who helped found a group called Cowboys for Trump. McFadden, a nominee of then-President Donald Trump, said there was ample evidence that Griffin knew he was in a restricted area and didn't leave. Griffin crossed over 3 walls, needed help from others or a ladder to get over them, the judge noted. All of this would suggest to a normal person that perhaps you should not be entering the area, McFadden said from the bench, but the judge said prosecutors didn't meet their burden to prove that Griffin engaged in disorderly conduct. Arguably, he was trying to calm people down, not rile them up, he said. Griffin's trial in Washington, D.C. was the second among hundreds of federal cases arising from the January 6, 2021 siege. Earlier this month, in front of trial, a jury convicted a Texas man, Guy Wesley Ruffett, of storming the Capitol with a holstered handgun, interfering with police, and obstructing Congress joint session to certify the Electoral College vote. The outcome of Griffin's trial could have a ripple effect, helping other Capitol riot defendants decide whether to let a judge or jury decide the case. But the case against Griffin is unlike most January 6 cases, and may not be a bellwether for defendants who are charged with storming the Capitol. Griffin is one of few defendants who wasn't accused of entering the Capitol building or engaging in any violence or destructive behavior, his lawyer argued. He was selectively prosecuted for his political views. Griffin was charged with 2 misdemeanors, entering and remaining in a restricted building or grounds, and disorderly disruptive conduct in a restricted building or grounds. Both carry maximum sentences of 1 year imprisonment. Griffin is scheduled to be sentenced on June 17th. He was jailed for more than 2 weeks after his arrest on January 19th, 2021. Griffin described himself as halfway pleased with the split verdict and said he will continue to view his involvement in the January 6th as a badge of honor, just like this reminds me of the beer hall putsch. Hitler's guys all did this when they invaded the German government. Hitler's guys, Göring and everybody, basically took it as a badge of honor. They all went to prison, and then they convinced even prison guards that they were fighting for Germany, and that's what these people are doing right now that went to January 6th. There's 60 people that were there that were part of the protest that are now running for government office in states throughout the United States, and they're actually using this as a badge of honor, almost like Hitler's guys did. And there's people that went to jail now, and they're in jail saying they're heroes, and it's almost like a repeat of what Hitler's people did, And Hitler's, he went and wrote a book, Mein Kampf, after he was arrested doing the same thing, but they actually had a shootout with the German government, Well, there was people got shot and killed, there was people died at the January 6th insurrection, 138 police officers were seriously injured. There was police officers that took their own lives. There was a lady, Babbitt, that was killed there. So there was some people that died over this deal too. But Hitler's people instantly made themselves self-proclaimed heroes after the putsch, they called it, the beer hall putsch, where they actually assaulted the German government. They went after it and tried to take it over. And Göring actually took a bullet in the hip, and he became a heroin addict over that, a lifeline. He was a Luftwaffe pilot, hero, genuine hero, and then he became a heroin addict after that. But that's what these same people are trying to do. They're making themselves heroes and carrying a badge of honor over going to jail or prison over this thing, and some of them are already running for office. So they're kind of doing the Hitler effect, I call it, trying to reverse history. I stand proud of where I am today and fight in a fight that I've been in over the course of last year and a half, he told reporters outside the courtroom. Griffin, one of 3 members of the Otero County Commission in southern New Mexico, is among a handful of riot defendants who either held public office or ran for government leadership posts in 2.5 years before the attack. Yeah, you got a lot of government officials that were there, a lot of military retirees, you got law enforcement people. This was a orchestrated event, and it was It was pre-planned. There was money behind that thing, everything. There were people with guns. As Rhodes and a few other people had guns around there, they were ready to shoot it out and all kinds of stuff, that come out later after this thing, and a lot of them did not want to go to prison. There's people that are doing 5-year prison sentences that were there, and, he is among 3 rioter defendants who have asked for a bench trial in which judges decide a case without a jury. Griffin said he doesn't regret waiving his right to a jury trial. If I was anywhere but D.C., I would say go with the jury trial, Griffin said. You can't get a fair jury trial in D.C. if someone like me, a strong conservative, he said. Loyola Law School professor Laurie Levinson said the conviction for ending restricted grounds helps establish for the government that the area was off limits to the public and will discourage other defendants from using similar arguments. This will send a message to other defendants that they are unlikely to win on technical argument that the area outside the Capitol were not off limits. The verdicts also may lead some defendants facing the same charges as Griffin to go to trial if they believe the judge deciding their faith has a high standard of what constitutes disorderly conduct. Levinson said the argument wouldn't be helpful to defendants who entered the Capitol building or committed violence on Capitol grounds. Assistant U.S. Attorney Janani Iyengar said Griffin climbed over metal bike racks, up a plywood ramp, and shouted over to the crowd about his belief that the election was stolen from President Trump. He was being extremely loud, climbing over barriers, engaging with the crowd, she said. In her closing argument, defense attorney Nicholas Smith said the case against Griffin was built on a series of false assumptions and premises. Trial testimony showed Griffin went on to the Capitol to support free and fair elections, Smith told the judge. A key question in Griffin's case was whether he entered a restricted area while Vice President Pence was still present on Capitol grounds, a prerequisite for the U.S. Secret Service to invoke access restrictions. Griffin's attorney said in court filings that Pence had already departed the restricted area before the earliest that Griffin could have entered. But Secret Service Inspector Lanel Hawa testified that Pence never left the restricted area during the riot. Hawa said agents took Pence from his office at the Capitol to a secure location at an underground loading dock on the Capitol complex. Pence remained in the loading dock location for 4 to 5 hours until the joint session of Congress resumed on the night of January 6th. Smith said prosecutors apparently believe Griffin engaged in disorderly conduct by peaceably leading a prayer on the Capitol steps. That is offensive and wrong, Smith told the judge during his brief opening statements. Prosecutors didn't give any opening statements. Their first witness was Matthew Struck, who joined Griffin at the Capitol and served as his videographer. Struck has immunity deal with prosecutors for his testimony after attending Trump Stop the Steal. On January 6, Griffin and Struck walked over barriers and up a staircase to enter a stage that was under construction on the Capitol's Lower West Terrace for Biden's inauguration, according to prosecutors. Prosecutors played video clips that showed Griffin move through the mob that formed outside the Capitol, where police used pepper spray to quell rioters. I love the smell of napalm in the air, Griffin said in apparent reference to a quote from the war movie Apocalypse Now. After climbing over a stone wall and entering a restricted area outside the Capitol, Griffin said, "This is our house. We should all be armed," according to prosecutors. He called it a great day for America and added, "The people are showing they've had enough," prosecutors said in a court filing. Prosecutors called Griffin an inflammatory provocateur and a fabulist who engages in racist invective and propounds baseless conspiracy theories, including that communist China stole the 2020 presidential election. Griffin's attorney said hundreds, if not thousands of other people did exactly what Griffin did on January 6th and haven't been charged with any crimes. More than 770 people have been charged with federal crimes related to the Capitol riot. More than 230 riot defendants have pleaded guilty, mostly to misdemeanors, and 127 of them have been sentenced. Approximately 100 others have trial dates set. Griffin had vowed to arrive at the courthouse on horseback on Monday. Instead, he showed up as a passenger in a pickup truck that had a horse trailer on the back. Yes, he loves the smell of napalm in the morning. You caught that, Shannon? Here's something that's pretty cool. I hope it goes through. U.S. Senate to vote this spring on lowering insulin prices. I hope they should do it right now. U.S. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer said he intends to hold votes this spring on a bill that would cap the cost of insulin, which, everybody knows it is a life-sustaining diabetes drug. The legislation would place a $35 monthly cap on what patients pay for insulin, Schumer said, and would be paired with another emerging bipartisan plan to drive down the price in a more comprehensive way, including having the uninsured protected. The Democratic leader added that he is working to place the legislation on the floor of the full Senate following a recess that ends in late April. So March, April, hey, that's coming up. Man, I hope that goes through. Now, that's a hell of a deal. If you can get where you pay no more than $35, and if you're uninsured, you'll be able to get your insulin. Now, that is one good thing that the Democrats are trying to do, and I pray and hope that gets passed. This is something that's kind of cool. An ancient sacred pool discovery aligns with the stars. An artificial lake of the west coast of Sicily was one of the largest sacred pools in the ancient Mediterranean 2,500 years ago. And it was aligned with the stars according to new research. Previously, researchers thought the rectangular lake was a military harbor that participated in the Mediterranean trade, but new excavations and research at the adjacent site of the ancient Phoenician island city of Mocha revealed that the lake to be the heart of a circular, sprawling religious sanctuary. Mocha was a bustling port during the first millennium BC. Researchers dated the construction of the pool to be 550 years before the Common Era, when the city was rebuilt after an attack by Carthage, a nearby Phoenician city along the North African coast that was Rome's main rival. Now, Mocha is better known as San Pantaleon, an idyllic spot for tourists. Researchers first found the basin in the 1920s and determined it must be an artificial harbor like the one discovered in Carthage called Kothan. When the new excavations were undertaken at Mocha, archaeologist Lorenzo Nigro, a professor from the Sapienza University of Rome, and his team determined something else. For centuries, it was thought Mocha's Kothan was a harbor, but now excavations have drastically changed its interpretation. It was a sacred pool at the center of a huge religious compound, said Nigro, the lead study author, in a statement. The study was published last week in the Journal of Antiquity. Excavations have been underway in Mocha for the past 60 years, offering other potential clues regarding the true purpose of the pool. On the edge of the artificial lake, researchers unearthed a structure they determined was Temple of Baal rather than harbor buildings. This finding in 2010 is what spurred a new perspective of Kothan. The sacred pool was filled with fresh water, bordered by 3 temples, and featured a statue of Orion, known as Baal to the Phoenicians, supported on a pedestal. At the center, the statue of the male deity had originally been found in the lagoon in 1933 and went on display at the Regional Archaeological Museum Antonio Salinas in Palermo. It stood about 7.8 feet high. Over the past decade, Nigro and his team drained the basin to conduct excavations. The artificial lake was longer and wider than an Olympic-sized swimming pool. This revealed it could not have served as a harbor, as it was not connected to the sea. Instead, it was fed by natural springs. During the course of the work, the researchers also found more temples along the basin, as well as altars offering a pedestal at the center of the lake that once held the statue, and stelae, or stone columns bearing inscriptions. The findings provided further support for the site, bearing a sacred pool rather than a harbor. And when they mapped the religious complex, they realized it laid out in the alignment with the stars. Key structures and features of the complex point to the specific constellations and other celestial observations. The nearby temple of Baal is aligned with the rise of Orion at the winter solstice, while stelae and other features were aligned with other astronomical events, Nigro said. This points to deep knowledge of the sky reached by ancient civilizations. The researchers also think the pool's horizontal surface may have been used as a reflective tool to map the movements of the stars, crucial for navigation as well as observing certain religious holidays at the time. The stars and constellations were regarded by the Phoenicians as gods and sacred ancestors. The authors wrote in the study, the pool was refilled and a replica of the Baal statue was placed on the pedestal at the lake's center in 2019. A city of free thinkers, Mocha was a hub of activity during the Bronze and Iron Age because it offered a wealth of natural resources like fresh water, salt, and fish, while being a well-protected harbor. The location was also a strategic one. North Africa, Iberia, and Sardinia. By the 7th century BC, Mocha was participating in trade across central and western Mediterranean, which put them in direct conflict with Carthage on the opposite side of the Strait of Sicily. Carthaginian forces attacked Mocha during the 6th century BC, but the island city bounced back and built a city wall as well as 2 religious compounds. Historical records show that Mocha was a welcoming cultural melting pot, so the holidays and celestial events belonging to other ancient cultures were likely celebrated there. Unfortunately, this openness drew the ear of Carthage, which was focused on maintaining political and economic power. When Dionysius I, the Greek tyrant of Syracuse, besieged Mocha, Carthage delayed in providing aid. Ultimately, Mocha was besieged and destroyed between 396 and 397 BC. So that is the news. The phone lines are now open. If anybody wants to call in, we'd like to hear from you. Oh, one other thing, if you're in Fargo, tomorrow between, it's 7 o'clock tomorrow night at the Anishinaabe Theater at the Memorial Union at NDSU. I'm going to be having my town hall meeting, and Shota Bagataria, my chief of staff in D.C., will be there on a big screen, and we're going to be hosting it together. The doctor actually kind of bailed yesterday. I had a doctor going to come, but he couldn't show up, so we're going to be me and him, and then I'm going to have an MC there. Angela will be there. She'll be doing questions and answers from the audience, and we'll be doing this show live from the Anishinaabe Theater at the North Dakota State University, a big auditorium I rented, so that ought to be fun. We'll do some questions and answers. So anybody here tonight, if you want to join the show tomorrow, we should have a big audience. We're going to do a live telecast from a big theater, so that ought to be a good time. And Shota, my chief of staff in D.C., will be here, and it'll be me and him. And we'll be doing a town hall talking about organic farming, small business, what we're going to be doing for small businesses. Shota will be talking about his part of the town hall, and we'll be taking questions, and so that'll be pretty awesome. We'll all be engaging an audience there, live audience, and we'll be doing the show from there. So anybody in Fargo wants to come, it'll be starts at 7. It'll go till about 9 o'clock, 7 to 9. So you guys can show up if you're in North Dakota. I'd like to see you if you want to come, or tell your friends or anybody. And I'll be there, and you can come to the live event. So that ought to be a good time. So we hope you can make it, and that's what's going down there. The phone lines are open. If anybody wants to call in, you can do that. And like I say, Shannon does some really good work. She's been working on some T-shirts, buttons, bumper stickers for my campaign. They look really good. I'm like really impressed. So yeah, they're really nice. So I'll be putting in an order with Shannon either tonight or tomorrow. Oh, there's Shannon now.
Thank you.
Hey, you're welcome.
Thank you
How
very
you
much.
doing?
I'm tired. Been working all day.
Wow. Yeah, you got a lot going on. I know you were talking to Oz, the South of Oz man, too. He might get a website with you, too.
Yeah, Doomsday wants one, and yeah, it's kind of like, I want one. It's like, oh, great.
Nice. Well, you do good work. I'll
Yeah.
validate that. Very, very good work.
Well, thank
Yeah,
you.
I'm impressed.
Thank you.
Yeah, you must have some good software, and you've been at it a while, I know.
I just have my Adobe programs like every designer.
That's nice. Well, Adobe's good quality. That's good stuff. You got some
Mhm.
expensive stuff, so yeah. Adobe's not cheap.
Yep.
I know what Adobe is. That's good stuff.
Yeah, but you can have all the tools in the world, but if you don't have that creative eye, you either have it or you don't.
Right,
You know,
exactly.
some people. I'm not putting anybody down, but it's just like either you're creative or you're not.
Right on. Right.
Hey, Oz, what's up?
Hey, Oz. How you doing?
Hi guys, yeah, I think Shannon's got me on her list as well, coming up very soon to so it's great. Yeah, she's freaking just absolute talent, and yeah, I know her heart's all behind everything, so that's why I trust her fully for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you.
Right on.
Thank you. Yeah, we just had a
That's right.
tornado
That
hit
should take
New
$20
Orleans.
off my fee. It's joking.
Hey, that's
Under
why
the
I'm giving
table.
such a good, price and to work with you, whatever. You're advertising me on your show, so I mean that's worth a lot to me. So.
No, absolutely. That's what it's all about, helping each other. That's where it comes down to, guys, for sure.
Exactly. Kindness begets kindness. Just like evil begets evil. So you can turn it around.
Well,
doesn't have to be such a shitty world.
Yeah, I know.
Pardon my French.
Right. Well, now I got to put explicit language in here now. I was running a Disney-rated show now. Yeah. Well, you've heard some of my shows.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you've heard some of mine. Well, I've been trying to clean up my act here, Some of my shows been really bad.
No, sometimes that's pretty awesome.
I know. Springer's
It's just
soprano.
the way you do it. No, the way you and your cousin, the way you, what would you call it, banter each other. It's just fantastic.
Were you here when he used to get drunk and he started slurring his words in the good old days way back when I first started the show? He'd be, after about an hour, he'd be normal, and then he couldn't even talk. He'd be so bombed. He would be slurring his words, and it was bad. He'd just get wasted.
It's so funny though. When you start yelling at each other, and then he's like, Shannon, tell him, help me.
No.
I'm like, what do you want me to do?
Yeah.
That's the good thing about it, isn't it, guys? It's real and raw, That's how you want it. You don't want all this put on stuff. You want it real and raw, and that's what people love,
Uh-huh.
So,
I love it, bro. I think it's fantastic. Some people can argue, and it's like, ooh, I got to get out of this podcast, but then too, it's like you got to get in here. This is awesome.
Yeah, he's the big cousin.
Well,
yeah,
it's all shocking.
He's funny.
I enjoyed your broadcast on Solid Blue the other day too, Michael. That was really good.
Oh.
Seeing your face as well, and
Yeah, thank you.
yeah, I watched that whole thing. It was really good.
Awesome.
Yeah, plug that in for sure.
Oh,
Go check that
glad
out.
you liked
Was
it.
that through Baru or? Yeah, man, that was really good. I watched the actual video presentation of
Nice.
it. You and Michael,
Yeah.
Wow.
Solid Blue and Bar M, guys, go check that broadcast.
Yeah.
Was that under Solid Blue's broadcast? Or did you post that?
I posted it on YouTube. It's the only way I get it to my media stuff. I had to put it on there, and then I could share it.
Who sent it to?
So,
Who sent it to you, Oz?
Oh, you sent it, did you, Shannon?
I didn't send it to you.
No, I think I actually got it through Telegram. I'm on Telegram. Are you guys on Telegram at all?
I am.
I am.
I am.
Oh, okay. I'll look his up.
Yeah.
I've got a private room in there, so I'll add yous. Yeah, I'll look
Okay,
his up and
great.
add yous into my room. Are you just under your names in here?
Yeah, no, actually I disabled it after Saba left, but I could get it again. I just kept getting like a million notifications,
Right.
so I'm like,
It'll drive you nuts. Yeah.
So-
Yeah, it drives you crazy.
yeah, like
There are
ding,
ways
ding,
to-
ding.
Yeah, there are ways to tweak it. You got to go into your notifications and settings and things, and if you tweak it the right way, it's a really good app actually because there's so much information on there. It's incredible. Yeah,
Well,
Saba's
that is-
still going on.
Yeah, that is one thing, and especially stuff about like what happened to me and doctors who can help and people who similar situations. So it's actually, they got some pretty wild stuff on there actually. It's almost
Well,
like
anyway, look me
underground.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, when you come in, look me up and I'll give you a little audio thing in the background because I can send audios and stuff like that. And on there you can actually do video like formats, chat rooms as well, and it's quite a really good program. Once you get used to it, a lot of people get pissed off with it at first, but once you tweak it a little bit, it is a really good app. The only thing, once you join Telegram, just make sure that are you producing this, Michael? Like you save these broadcasts now that you?
Yeah, these are all
saved.
saved, and then these are on multi-formats, and they are all over the internet. Yeah,
Oh.
all these go out, so yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
people can go back and have a look over this, and if they need to.
Yeah, these
get
are
savvy on it.
everywhere.
But if anyone needs, if anyone, I'm pretty good on Telegram, like with how to tweak it, and so if anyone needs help when you join it, just look me up in there and send me a message, and I'll give you a private, what do you call it? Tutorial. I guess you could call it.
Right.
It's amazing. Just a couple of little tweaks in that will just save you a lot of grief.
Yeah.
So,
Brian from the London Reel is on there, and I really like him. He's like a no holds barred journalist, and he has like David Icke on there all the time, and I really like his
that was
journal.
the London Reel. I really enjoy him. That one that he done with David Icke was one of his biggest ones ever, I think. That
Yeah,
just
he
went
did like
viral.
5-6 episodes with him.
Yeah.
Really,
Yeah.
really interesting, man.
Yeah.
He talked about everything from 5G to the reptilians to
Yeah.
to COVID, and I like David Icke a lot.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah.
The one,
Some say he's controlled and all that, but I do think he's just coming from sincerity, with his studies. Like if you look back in his early days when he had that transformation, there's a lot of people that have had that sort of thing that just changed them. I've had a very similar aspect, and I know many others that are like us. They're a little bit like woo or out there, but there is a certain thing. It's like a download, and it's just wow.
Yeah, like one day you
right.
just, it's like you can see everything clear, and people mistake it for like maybe paranoia or something. I mean, they don't call me paranoia, but it's like, I don't know. It's like you see the world differently. So I guess that's why they call it waking up.
right.
You know?
Yeah. The
Not
Great
too
Awakening. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
The
I think
veil
that
has
happened
been
after
lifted.
2012. That's when
Yeah,
it started.
there's been a lot of people. I was even before that myself, but I have noticed since no, I was right into it since I was a child, just the way I was growing up, and I was read scriptures. I knew about Armageddon and the end of the world and all that, and I know all about Revelations and all that sort of stuff. So I had this embedded in me very young. So I was always been a natural prepper because I thought, well,
Right.
I'm going to need to,
Natural.
prepare some stuff. I was even
Mhm.
asking my mother. I've told you she'll vouch for me. She'll come on, and and I was only about 4 or 5, and I said I was worried about taxes and stuff, and I couldn't understand how people could do that. And so I was already a worrywart when I was only that young. And
That's me.
yeah,
That's
and then I
worry.
grew up into the scriptures as well. I was read Revelations every night. My grandfather would come in and read me, the scriptures and stuff. So. Yeah, I was very unique as a very young child, and that's what's brought me to where I am now, So, yeah, and I like to share things with people, I think that's what it's all about, and just being real and, just being out there and just giving your voice and sharing, and I always never had much of a voice when I was young. It was really weird. When I was a little kid, I used to record people and listen to them. So I had this thing about just I don't know what it was. It wasn't being a pervert or anything. It was just, I know it sounds like it. Oh, what did I say?
Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't peeping through. Yeah, well, anyway, that's the spying thing. But now, I know I was never a peeping Tom, don't worry about that. But I'd have
Wait,
my
that
family
sounds
in
so funny.
Yeah, I know.
What a pervert or nothing.
I'd have my family, like my aunties and all that around, and I'd walk past and just near them and just shove a freaking recorder and then go back and listen later. Like, it was like,
You little
I've seen
spy.
a couple of recordings. It was like a spy. Yeah, I was, what the hell's going on here? I'd like to know what these adults are talking about, you know what I mean? And I was like, who's doing that? That's all it was. It wasn't to be a little, deviant or anything. I was actually
Right.
curious of what's going on in
Right.
this world, So,
they
yeah,
say.
I was already a journalist, man. I used to lay back in my bed when I was 6 years old with a radio going through every station, and not only the stations. I used to listen to all the talkback radios. There was a couple, but I used to go through, that little bit between every station and listen for the aliens. That's how tricked out I was. Yeah, I was going through there.
Kind of like Signs with the baby monitor.
Into the light. Yeah, I was a tricked out kid, Yeah.
That's
Tricked
funny.
out adult. That might give you an understanding. Yeah, there you go. I'm just sharing a bit about myself, guys. Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
great.
so you might get
I
a
was
grip
a
of where
little
I'm at now
journalist.
that I'm 50 years old, I'm 50.
That's fun. Oh, we're the same age.
I sound younger, yeah. I
I
do. I sound like a 30-year-old. I think I trapped, because when you die, you go back into that 28-year-old perspective, apparently. So I think I stayed
mindset.
there.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's my excuse.
Well, they say we're like 20 years younger than we are, so I guess 50's the new 30, 60's the new 40.
Great.
So I guess 20's the new 10.
Well, that's fantastic.
Great.
Awesome. I love it. Yeah. So you were
Yep.
an earlier, I did that too, south of Oz. I was like SETI. We were the beginning of SETI, I think. When you were doing that, listening for aliens. I used to do that in between, listening for aliens and all that.
Yeah.
And then you'd get that weird pulse,
Awesome.
like on a shortwave radio. There was always that weird pulse they have. I don't know what that pulse was. International pulse. Yeah. Yeah.
Is that them? Are they beaming from Sirius?
All right. One thing I wanted to share with
200,000 years ago.
when you guys were talking about
Sorry,
David Icke, I wanted to share one thing. All I know for a fact is my friend, he was over in Vietnam. He was a medic, and he told me they had reptilian blood they had to feed certain troops he carried around. They had reptilian blood, and because I was saying, are there lizard people like David Icke said? And he said, well, I'll tell you this, and he was serious about it, that we had certain people, we had reptilian blood we had to give them. So that was really unique.
Wait, that's really strange because Raccoon said the exact same thing. He was a medic in the army, and they had all these wounded soldiers, and they brought blood in, and he says we had to give them reptilian blood so they wouldn't die and they would heal much, much quicker. Said his mouth was on the ground.
Well, there you go.
So that's
Well, there you go, David Icke.
so that's two people that said that.
Well, that's true
Wow.
then. Well, that's David Icke talking about reptilian people here. You know,
Yeah.
shapeshifter reptilians. Well, there you are. And I caught that.
Huh.
If you go back into David Icke, sorry guys, this is really important to what you're talking about, but if you go back to one of his earliest documentaries, it was with Crater Mudwa. He was an African shaman. Look that up,
Yeah,
guys.
I know. Yes, I know who he is. Yes,
That
yes.
is a mind blower. That goes for about 6 hours, I think. It's an amazing documentary. That will give you the perspective of if you want anything to back up any so-called solid evidence. This guy is talking from hence, you know, like from mouth to mouth, not just we're interpreting this. This guy it was an amazing interview. The quality was shit, unfortunately, but it was really, really good, guys. I really encourage anyone that thinks this reptilian thing is bullshit and it's just you know, I've had a mushroom and I'm tripping out. No, man, there's some real, and even if you look back at the Merovingians and all those sort of things, the aspects of these sea people, it's very, very deep in our culture, guys. It's virtually like, to me, it's virtually like an ice wall broke and they come through from another side of Earth that we don't see, and they just embedded here. That's where we get the mythologies of the serpent race. The you know, we all hear about that, you know,
The
and all these other
Quetzalcoatl
things.
and them
There's
too.
Quetzalcoatl. Yeah, there's
Mhm.
too much. There's too much there in our past history, and you've only got to look back 200 years ago in our history with the mud floods and the Tartarian sort of issues that we are being like, we're in like the Truman Show, guys. And we really are. Who was it? Michael Tazarian or Credo? No, I think it was. I don't think it was Tazarian, but someone said we are in a state of amnesia. That's the human race is in a state of amnesia. We don't know our true history, guys. We're being lied to. What we think we know, most of it we're being lied to about. You know what I mean?
That's why I highly recommend a book by Lloyd Pye, who's my dad's best friend. It's Everything You Know Is Wrong. You'll love it.
Oh, yeah. He actually done a video of that too, didn't he?
I'm sure he died. He died of cancer, but it's an excellent book. I served him many steaks before, so but it's an incredible book. I think they killed him. I think he was killed, actually.
Yeah, same here. Yeah, same here.
Definitely.
Most of them are.
Hospitals killed him. Ochsner here. Same people that did this to me.
Yep.
So,
most of them.
Yep. The killers. I'm telling you.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, back to the reptilian. I normally, because I'm a skeptic and, you know, curious about conspiracies and because I am an awoke person, but my dad, all my life, has told me the same story. My dad is not a liar. He doesn't fabricate things, and he's a journalist major. And I told you he went to school with Anne Rice and Jim Mars, and he had an experience when he was a child. He said one walked straight into his bedroom. He was not asleep. The covers went right off the bed, and he was immediately put to sleep. That's all he remembers. But he said he was walking on all fours, actually, and it had a tail, but then it stood up. And it was definitely what they describe as reptilian. And he's had several visitations and seen several UFOs. So, I mean, I'm so jealous. I've never seen nothing. And I want to. So actually, even Michael J. has had experiences.
I've seen people demonically possessed. I've seen
Oh, wait, you got to talk about
one
that.
shapeshifter once I know. I've seen it right in front of me shapeshifted. and it was reptilian, just like David Icke said. That blew my mind.
Oh, look who's here. Get up here, Michael.
Uh-oh. Michael from Missouri.
Yeah, get up here, Michael.
Michael from Missouri.
Okay, now, you never told me any of this, Michael. Okay, now, one by one, I want to hear all of it.
Well, the demon possession one was a guy that he came to Fargo years ago. I was trying to pay my child support off. I was working at a fast food restaurant. The guy come in all pretty healthy, nice guy, you know, and he'd come in out of town, and real healthy guy, you know, and we got him a place to live and all that. And then I seen him years later, and it was really weird. I left a friend's house about 4 a.m. I had to get up early and go to work. I stayed the night on the couch and was walking down the street, and I seen that same guy. He was real skinny, and he didn't look the same, but his eyes looked like they were on fire, and demonic words came out of his mouth, and I just knew he was demonically possessed, and he pointed like get away from me, and just voice came out of his mouth like unbelievable, like demons, you know, and like go across the street, don't come by me, I'm a demon, and you know, it was just unbelievable with the sound that come out of his mouth and the way he pointed. But it was that guy that I had gotten a job, and I seen him, you know, a few years later, and it was just totally different person, but it was him, and it was totally demonically possessed. Could just see the fire in his eyes, and it was just unreal. Yeah,
Wow.
and the voice that come out of his mouth, I've never heard it. It was like it was a demon. It was so surreal, you know, and he was just standing in the street pointing at me like, don't come by me, you know, go around me. And it was, or like I'd become a demon, like I'd get a demon, like he was trying to tell me, don't touch me, don't come by me, or because you'll get this demon in you, you know, like there was some.
Maybe he was trying to fight it or something.
It was weird. It was a demon's voice. I never heard anything ever come out of a human being like that. It was totally, and the eyes were like on fire. They were like fire eyes. It was
the pupils or like the whites of his eyes.
The whole eyes were like fire. It was just on like glowing fire. It was just weird, like fire. It was I never seen anything like it in my life. That was so surreal and so creepy, you know. And the guy looked like a totally different person. Like, I'm thinking, what the heck? Who got a hold of this guy? What satanic group, or what the hell happened to this poor guy? You know, he was a totally different person, you know, just totally changed, you know. And I've seen him after this, and the guy is just really weird now. I mean, he was healthy, normal guy, and now he's just a total wretched person now when I see him. It's just.
Maybe he had an exorcism, or the demon just exited.
That could be. Yeah, it was totally weird. It was like, oh my Lord, you know. Yeah.
How long ago?
Oh, that was, I would say about 20 years ago. That was 20 years ago. But he was demon possessed. I seen it. It was, and I was getting real spiritual at the time, you know, very into my scriptures, reading the good book, living healthy, you know, and that's where a lot of people say the closer you get to God or Jesus, the more that the demons come after you and attack you, you know. And
yeah, that's what I've heard.
And
too.
it's true.
Yeah,
it's true to a degree, but once you get so far advanced in your spiritual belief, they can't harm you. You'll get to a level in Christianity, or you'll get into a level with God to where they can't harm you. But if you get to this certain degree in the beginning of your quest for spirituality, they'll attack you, because it's like you're going through a doorway, you know, and you'll get hit hard by everything and everybody. But you'll get to a point where they can't harm you anymore, these demons. But it takes years to get to that level, you know, this super powerful, untouchable Christian level, you know, or Christ level, or this level of spirituality. It takes a long time, and you got to go through this. So you got to go through it many times in your life, I think, where you get real close to God or Jesus, and then you're going to get attacked over and over again. But once you get to a certain level, I don't think they can harm you anymore. I don't think, but you always got to keep your guard up. I haven't been attacked by demons in a while, unless it's this guy, Michael from Missouri, my cousin, and then he comes on this show.
Why you got to talk like that?
The demonic spirits get in this Michael from Missouri, and then I get attacked.
I plead the blood of Jesus. I've always heard you say that, and you have to believe it. And they can't touch you.
Right.
He's living in the now.
I live in the now. I live in the now.
Wait a minute. You've been talking about me? You've been talking about me?
No, but we thought that might be a slogan until it's I'll get the job done. I did some graphic work for him, so no, I heard you guys talking about that a while back. Live in the now.
I live in the now. Shannon does some great work, I tell you what. She's doing some campaign
Michael,
work. It's phenomenal. Very good.
If you need any work done, Michael, I'm your girl. Graphic and web.
Okay.
Okay, good. Good.
Yeah, I got to send her some money. She did some nice T-shirts and bumper sticker and buttons. I love them. I like it. Yeah, it's very, very, very good. I'm very impressed.
Thank you.
And you're fast.
One thing that
you're fast. You don't dilly-dally around either.
Yeah, I did them all in one day. Yeah. I know you want your slogan on there. If you love it as is, that's great. But my suggestion would be to take that off in the front. But if you like it, then we'll keep it. Cause it's ultimately, you're the client. So.
You don't want my slogan on there, you said?
I just think it looks better with the Michael J. Steele for Senate.
Yeah.
And.
Okay.
But but if that's important to you though, for the slogan.
No, if you think it looks better with that off, leave it off. Then leave it off.
Okay.
Leave it off then. Yeah.
Okay. It kind of, you look at it, it's like, oh, that looks great. And then it's that.
Yeah.
It's not the verbiage. It's the, I don't
aesthetic
know. You got to think of everything.
Aesthetic appeal.
Right. You got to always have 4 principles of designs, and it meets that requirement. But it just, sometimes with political campaigns and stuff, and logos and stuff like that, sometimes less is more. And I just think if that was taken off, it would actually be
a
little more powerful because you got your name, it's big.
Yeah.
And another thing, when it's printed out, because when you send it over the internet and you have to save it for web screens and stuff, the red where it says Michael is going to be a much deeper red, so it looks much better, darker. It is darker.
Uh-huh.
So it almost looks pink in the transfer, but it's not pink at all. So the shirts will look fantastic. It'll all look fantastic.
Good. It looks good.
Let me add something though, that it's the vibration as well. It's like when people go to a banquet for grandma maids. Oh, she made the best roast that night. She done this. Oh, what a meal. Yeah. And you're all happy. Or you go to a beach that's just slapped together something and you all feel sick after it. Same sort of vibration. This is what Shannon's not only doing on a very humble level, but what she's doing is from the heart. And that is the key, guys.
Right on.
So everything's going to vibrate. Yep.
Yeah. It is. I'm doing it completely pro bono, because that's my contribution to his campaign. Because right now I don't have, $500 to give to him, which I would if I had it. But my time is money. So, and I'm a decent designer.
Right on.
Giving him some love.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, I need all the love I can get.
You're welcome. Okay, now we've got to talk about the shapeshifter thing. Now you got me curious.
Well, there's someone I know, and he's very, very spiritual. He's a pastor I've known for years, and he knows the Bible inside and out, but there's been times where I've talked to him, and it's just he'll shift into like a reptile, and his face, I've seen it a few times. Just real quick, I've seen it while you're looking at his face. Yeah, and he's a pastor, been a pastor for years. and he knows the scriptures and all that, but he was a Vietnam veteran too. And oh, wow, I just thought of that. He's a veteran. Oh my Lord. And we were talking about the reptilian blood, me and Shannon going to the veterans,
Mm-hmm.
you know, but, and I've
Right.
actually seen him, right in front of me. His face would shift into, his eyes, and just like David Icke said, they shapeshift right in front of your eyes. I just seen his head do
Yeah,
it.
they have like these slits. Their pupils turn into like
Yep.
slits, vertical.
I just
Wow.
seen the face do it into a reptile. That's all, a couple times, and it's like, oh, and I didn't say nothing, you know, and I'm going, okay, this guy's a reptile, you know, and wow, you know,
Wow.
and
Yeah, I see. There is another version, Michael. I don't know if anyone else has seen it, but they have that round. It's like their eyes go real round and dark. That's another aspect. It's like an innocent. It's like looking into an innocent child. It's really bizarre. I want to put out there that I don't really see what you're talking about, but I do see the other aspect. I see these other ones where their eyes go really round and real dark, and their whole persona is just like a childlike of innocence. It's like really bizarre.
The black-eyed children. That's what you're talking about.
No, I was with someone, a partner, that actually I talked to her, and her eyes, I could just tell as soon as I looked at her, it's like everything compressed. Their features and they went into this like real innocent look about them, and their eyes went dark. And I'm talking about humans. I've seen one, an evil force with a friend that come out that was, whoa. I'm looking at this person, I'm talking to him, and all of a sudden, like, he was pretty intoxicated too, which apparently the archons and all those other issues, they like to go around bars and things. That's why they call it spirits and stuff. And that's why it opens. See, when you're a seer, you can see in the vortex. If you go into a pub, you'll see auras all shattered and opened up like Swiss cheese, because the archons love, and that's what they call it, spirits. You know, you have a spirit. So that, it was like when I had that that interaction three weeks ago or so with you in there. You know, I was just stress, spirits, everything opened up, bad, negative energies. You know what I mean? That's what happens. So, you know, but this is what it talks about, putting on the full armor of God. You know, you've got to daily, you've got to, you know, if you're going to watch porn and stuff, you're going to have a complete mind frame. You know what I mean? You're going to be in a different world. Where if you don't, you're going to be in another world. You know what I mean? So you can choose to go through this aspect, or you can choose to go through that aspect, and then you can create your mind and your neurotransmitters into that certain framework where they should be, instead of being what would you call it? Being filled with all these sort of energies that are coming in that are bad, you know. Like I mentioned, I seen one on Alex Jones about over 20 years ago that I still cannot get out of my head, you know, a little thing like that. Now, what it was a child in Palestine with its head its whole chin blowing out. I don't know if anyone ever seen that, but I can never get that out of my mind, and it's something I wish I never looked at. And but I seen it, and it was a tongue just hanging out with no chin, if you can imagine that. So yeah, a child too, calling out for her mum, and she had no chin. All it was a tongue. Now, I can't get that out of my fucking head, you know. It kills me. It kills me every time I'm just talking about it now, you know. But this is the power of the media, and if you look at what they're trying to do with people, I think we just got to put on the armor, so-called armor of God and righteousness, to help ourselves, because there's things that yet we can view. There's things that are out there, yeah, of course, But say, for instance, pornography. We don't need to view that. There's things you can block it. You can put
I don't watch
child.
porn. No, I don't
No,
watch porn.
no.
No.
But I'm just saying, if people, and it's proven over and over and over in psychological experiments and things like that it does do some damage to the brain. And the other thing, well, it does damage in other areas, because if you think about it, if you're into that and if you are expressing yourself more than normal, you are actually one of the how do you get technical about it, but one of the main elements of semen is zinc. So you're letting out zinc quite a lot as well. So you're going to have zinc deficiencies, and you're probably going to be pimpled head 16, 18-year-old adolescents coming up to adolescence because you're letting your zinc out. So there are, apart from other aspects, there are things that can be cartelled around this addiction to these, bad vibes, so to speak. So I believe, and this is the thing, that parents have been bombarded with like Miley Cyrus and all that, where they were innocent young girls, and then they turned them into little tarts and such, you know what I mean? Well, the parent, oh yeah, you can watch Miley, yeah, she's nice, she's
They
cute.
subjectify them for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's all about sexuality. If you think about it, if that's the reason
Britney
why they're trying to get it,
Spears, yada, yada,
whether they're
yada.
aliens, lizards, or what, and I fully believe these lizards are terraforming this earth. If you think about it, look at Bill Gates. He wanted to eliminate the sun. Like, what the hell is that all about?
What? I didn't hear that. Where did you hear that? How can
It
you
was,
eliminate the sun? It would destroy our galaxy. Has he got an alternative source to heat up the Earth?
I don't know. So I think China or Japan have got this new sun program that they've produced. He actually was, Japan. I think it was Japan or China. One of them. Anyway, there was,
Are they going to cause a supernova to start to implode? I mean, because that's how the sun was made. I mean, I know with the super collider in Geneva that they actually recreated the Milky Way, the Big Bang. So, I mean, I guess that is possible if they can actually recreate the Big Bang, then and form a little galaxy. Then.
Yeah. I put one up on my Telegram about
That's so crazy.
6
Oh
weeks
my
ago. Right?
God, the egos of these men.
I know,
mean,
it's incredible.
Well, what are they going to do? Send stuff journey to the center of the earth and heat it from within? I mean,
there was this Asian country that just put up one, Shannon. They just put up this thing that was virtually a sun. Yeah.
What, out in space or on the earth?
It come up on the earth. Yeah.
Oh, I want you to send me that. Oh, I would love. I want to investigate all that. I would love to research that.
Come join me. Yeah, come join me on Telegram. I share a lot of shit like that, crazy stuff.
And Bill Gates is involved in this? I did a lot of papers in college on Bill Gates. So
he owns 60% to 80% of all the freaking agriculture now in America. That's bad, man. That's really bad.
He bought up all these bulldozers because he's mining these crystals. And one thing that I did find out is he's mining these crystals, and then I started discovering all these crystals in the freaking food. And then that's how actually they're determining diabetes type 2 now. And I actually, because it took me years to study this. And if you look at, like you buy a piece of meat or something, because what they're doing is they're putting it in the animal's food. And then, of course, they eat it and it gets stored into the fat. Okay, so when we buy our meat products, we're buying it with these stored crystals in the fat. So that's how doctors now know, and they also put it in packaged foods, such as sugar and all that kind of crap. And so you eat it, and when you have an overabundance of these crystals, they know that you are eating improperly. And they also, once they get into your fat, makes it so much harder to lose the weight. And the body does not break it down. And then I also was discovering they're putting in 1 crystal per calorie. And then, like, even in bottled water will say like 1 calorie. And you have to turn it up exactly to the right light, and you'll see that 1 crystal floating in there. And then if you get a fatty piece of meat, you'll see the crystals all the way through the meat. See, most people don't notice it because they're not actually looking at what they're cooking. And of course, sugar you can't tell because that sugar is a crystal. But that's how they're determining diabetes type 2 now. When you have an overabundance, it's a man-made disease. I'm telling you. Just type 2. Diabetes type 1 is a disease. But if you have an overabundance of these crystals in your bloodstream, they'll say, oh, you got diabetes, you got to be on this medication. So, I mean, they think that the powers that be, that obesity is what's killing our our country, because they think Medicare is draining our economy, and they think that obesity, and the fatter you are, the more health problems you
Coming
have.
down to the last minute.
Yes.
We got about the last minute to go.
You
last minute of the
coming
show.
back?
It's getting pretty late. I got to get up tomorrow, and I got to go to West Acres, and I got the town hall tomorrow night.
I'll be there for sure.
Yeah, we got the town hall. Hopefully, you guys can come on the town hall. I'm going to have Chota Bagateria, my chief of staff from Washington, will be there too, so you guys can meet him finally. He'll be there, and we're going to be doing it live at the Anishinaabe Theater. Excuse me, at NDSU. At the college. I'll be at the auditorium. We're going to do the show there at the town hall.
Right.
So we'll have hopefully a big audience. It'll be pretty exciting. We're going to do it live. So.
Right.
Yeah.
What time?
7 to 10 o'clock. Well, 7 to 9 because this only gives me 2 hours. So 7 to 9 live at NDSU. I got a big auditorium. I rented here last month. So. We're going to go off the air in about 3 seconds. So thanks, guys, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Oz.
Thank you.